Welcome back, everyone. We've seen some sample programs and we've gone through some of the underlying philosophy. And when we get to progressive overload, it's real easy to picture when you have, say, something, a weight, a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a medicine ball, or a barbell with some weight on it, and how that works, because you do your required reps, you take the evaluation step of could I have done more, you add a little bit to the bar, and if you're like my gym, we can add 2.5 pounds at a time, and in some cases, in some places, you can add 1 pound at a time. So there's a real easy manifestation of that progressive overload. It's a little bit more complicated when we get to body weight exercises, because you kind of weigh what you weigh. Hopefully, if your goal is weight loss, then you're weighing a little less every time, but that doesn't facilitate making you stronger with those body weight exercises. You're just weighing less. So one of the big questions always out there is, did I get better at pull-ups or did I just get lighter? Well, we want to do both at the same time. So progressing body weight exercises gets a little bit more tricky because you can't change your weight. So what we have to do is use physics to our advantage, or use some sort of assistance. Now, if you're in a large gym, box gym, a lot of times they have the offloading machines now, where you put your knees on a platform and you can do your pull-ups and you can actually adjust the weight that it's offloading. So if you weigh 200 pounds and you can only do 150 pound pull-ups, you can add 50 pounds to the offload, and then you can go 45, 40, 35, and just like any other weighted exercise, end up where you want to go. A little bit more tricky if you're working out from home, your gym doesn't have that kind of equipment, or you have a garage gym like I do that you just don't have space for that kind of thing, a very highly specialized thing that takes up a lot of space. So I'm going to show you a few tricks. We'll go through the physics tricks first, and then I've got how to work with band assisted work as well. So I got a sledgehammer here to help you with the visual. When we're talking about push-ups, obviously, the ultimate goal is to get nice and flat to the ground in a nice plank, getting a good full range of motion. The obvious modification is go to the knees and do that, but that's a huge step. There's a giant leap between the amount of force you're producing from that knee push-up and the regular push-up. By the way, curl push-ups, they're modified push-ups, because even if I was to say want to do 200 reps, probably have to drop to my knees at some point. They're not girl push-ups. But what we know from physics is the longer the lever, the greater the resistance. So we can change the angle of our body and have a progressive model for getting down flat to the ground. So I've got a rack set up behind me. Show you modifications for home later. If you have a rack available, this is the best way, because you can work your way up and down that rack and change the angle. So we're doing push-ups right now. This is a lot easier than that one I did flat on the ground. If you're really coming at this raw and not very good, especially you ladies with the upper body strength difference, you can set that really high and then work your way down. Well, the same thing works for our favorite back exercise, those inverted rows. This is going to be much easier than if I change the angle where my body is longer, and now I'm picking up more of my body weight. So you start high and then work your way down the rack. That's optimal. That gives us a progressive, I got 1 inch differences here, so I can go down 1 inch at a time, whereas some of your other racks up here, inches at a time, so bigger jumps. But still, that's not that bad. I can go from 45 degrees to about 40 degrees to about 35 degrees till I end up flat to the ground. Same thing with that inverted row. Now at some point your feet are going to start sliding on that one, so go down to flat and then you shorten the lever. Knees in, short lever. This is just like the knee push-up, and then you can work it out as you go. So changing the angle and shortening the lever is our first step to progressing those. If you don't have a rack, say you're in the dumbbell area of your gym, you can always use a bench for that. And if you're at home, let's move this bench back out of the way. I pulled a prop from the other room. We've got a chair. Now this one, make sure that you have it secure and it's not going to slide on you. I'm going to put it against the rack, but putting it up against the couch or something else heavy or a wall or a counter, then you can go from there, and when you're ready to progress, you flip that baby around and then you get a little deeper towards the ground until ultimately you are doing regular push-ups. So there are plenty of options to have a full progression model all the way down to the ground. And I showed you push-ups and rows. Now pull-ups, a little bit harder. First of all, if you're at home, let's get rid of that bar. You probably don't have many options for pull-ups anyway, so you might be doing those band pull-downs. If you've got one of those doorway pull-ups, I've seen a lot of accidents happen on those, but I don't know what the risk ratio is on that. Making your own decision there. I've got a nice bar, so I'm going to go there. So we got these bands. You got a little help here, and you've got a lot of help here. The more stretch on the band, obviously, the more it's going to help you with that pull-up. So a lot of help there, a little bit less, so now I'm progressing. So those got easy. I bring it up to the knee, and then once those get easy, either I make the jump to doing them regularly, or I get a slightly smaller band. Now these are pretty standard increments. If you're looking at the resistance bands, I got these on Amazon's, but you can get them on Elite FTS or PRX or all of those. Now these standard, about half the distance, about half the thickness, about half the thickness. What I found over the years is that when you can do 10 with one, then if you go to half that thickness, you can do 5. So when we're doing our strength phase and I'm working somebody towards pull-ups, then I will have them get to where they can do 10 with one, and then I'll give them the next harder version, and they'll try to get 5. If they can't get 5, then we'll go back to the other one, and then we'll try other methods. But that's pretty much a good golden rule on the thickness of the band if you have these available. The same thing goes for dips, and then you would just slide that band inside the dip bar and use it to help you. And this also helps you with that range of motion, because it gets easier as you go down towards the more dangerous portion of that. You can press it out. So you can work yourself up from there. So push-ups, change the angle. Inverted rows, change the angle. Pull-ups, find your proper resistance with the bands and kind of work from there. And the same thing goes with dips. Now dips, you can also use that furniture. Now this is a little harder on the shoulders. Be careful. So make sure you can keep good posture. You don't want to let the shoulders drop forward as you go down. You want to keep everything in line. Now this is a little bit more tricep heavy, a little less chest than a traditional dip, but it gets you through the day. The further your feet are out, the harder, and then the closer they're in, the easier. And if you prop them up on something, you're going to have even a little bit more resistance. So we can use all these things to our advantage to advance body weight exercises. Don't just get real sloppy on these things trying to get through them. Ugly pull-ups where you're swinging on the bar, or push-ups where you can't keep everything in line, or you're just kind of dipping your head down. Find where you're at, find what level you're at, hit the reps, and do them as perfectly as you can, and then trust the process that you will progress along the way. And not only will you progress, but you will progress in a way that doesn't hurt. All right? Now, a little bit of pain from being uncomfortable exercising, but doesn't hurt as far as causing injury. So you can do that at home using your couch, a chair, or any. Be creative. Just be safe at the same time. or you can do it in the gym. And of course, gyms are set up to optimally train in a safe way if you do it right. So that's progressing bodyweight exercises. Don't want to spend too much time on it. If you have any questions or if something wasn't that clear, put it in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, I'm not your trainer. These are just things I've used over the years to progress my clients as well as myself. I didn't start from being able to do everything all the way. Play with it, learn your body, and we'll just keep getting better and better and better. Keep it up, and I'll see you next time.